case, in case you want to revisit, you can. I will upload this to YouTube. Okay. Share this. I hope you can all see my screen now.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So just some housekeeping norms like punctuality. So if we can all be punctual, meaning coming on time, today was wonderful, then we can start on time and get the maximum benefit out of this course. And also I would request to have the commitment to the entire course. Like if you can regularly come and not miss, because all the classes would be connected to each other. So if you miss one, like you can still catch up and see, but unless there is something very, very urgent, I would request you to just come for the classes. And some of you did mention about like the in the previous sessions, like some of them joined but then missed. But this one, we are not going to go for years. We are keeping it. That's why we kept it for months, so that we can finish in a time-bound manner. And other thing, respect for each other. So this would be an open and friendly environment. So nobody is judging anyone. We will all respect each other, to each other views as well. So, but you are open, and you can ask any question, whatever you have during the class, or also if you're not comfortable asking in a group, you can send me your question on an email or call me separately. We can always discuss. So, and during the class, when we are hanging, just keep all distractions away. Cell phone is one of the biggest distractions. So just keep it on silent and just be in the room where you have minimum disturbance. Because when we are spending 1 hour of our precious time, then we should make best use of that time, right? And I would encourage not to do multitasking, like having the class and doing other work, because that way your concentration will not be there. And even though you spend 1 hour, but you didn't get productive 1 hour. So just give this 1 hour per week for yourself, right? Keep on mute during the class, but you can keep your videos on. That will give me encouragement, and also I'll see whom, like, otherwise sometimes it feels to the speaker that you are speaking to just a computer, right? If you don't see faces. I will ask you to do some homework. Just spend 15 to 30 minutes per week. Basically whatever we cover in the class, just reflect on that, read on that. And if you feel encouraged, also read Bhagavad Gita from chapter 1, just the translations. That will take you maximum 15 minutes. So then you will get to the habit of actually reading. And by doing that, what will happen when you start reading yourself, you will have questions. Then you can bring those questions back to the class and everyone can benefit. Feel free to ask any questions and participate. The more you participate, the more you will get. So don't feel embarrassed for asking any questions, no matter how small, how like trivial the question may be, you can still ask. And as I mentioned, I can be reached on phone, WhatsApp, or email. So feel free to contact me on any of these channels, and also during the class. Okay. So it's wonderful. This is the first session. So I'll just briefly start with the introduction about Bhagavad Gita. So as you know, Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjun on the battlefield. So it was not spoken in an environment where everything was good, peaceful. Like today we are discussing this Bhagavad Gita in our comfort at our homes. But Arjun was completely in depression when Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Arjun to Lord Krishna, and he was refusing to fight. So Lord Krishna spoke this message of Bhagavad Gita, and after hearing this message, he completely came out of depression, and he was like ready to do what Krishna advised him to do. So in that way, Lord Krishna is our original motivational speaker, right? Like right now we see so many motivational speakers around on YouTube, this, that. But he was the original one who, through the medium of Arjun, he instructed the whole humanity not just for this age, but for all ages, for all future ages or previous, for all walks, people from all walks of life. And he answered all the questions which you may have in your life through the medium of Bhagavad Gita. So this was the beauty of Bhagavad Gita, that it has questions to answers to every answer. And lot of the today in the corporate, if you see, a lot of leadership sessions are based out of Bhagavad Gita. Many of you have heard this wonderful book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And most of those principles are derived from Bhagavad Gita. So even you can say the people who are not on the spirituality side are still deriving benefits from Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so let me go to next. So just to give you about the background, like as I was saying, there was a battlefield which was happening between the Pandavas and the Kauravas in Kurukshetra. And this happened exactly 5,200 years back in the place called Kurukshetra, which is now in Haryana in India. And most of you may know that why the battle was happening, because there was a family of Kurus where there is Pandavas and Kauravas, and then Kauravas, by deceit, by illegal means, they acquired the kingdom of Pandavas, and they were not willing to give it back. And that's why this whole battle was happened, and it's happened in the field of Kurukshetra, which is the Dhankshetra. It's a place of pilgrimage. And just to give you an idea about that battle, there were from Pandava's side 7 Akshahunis, and from Kaurava's side 11 Akshahunis. So what is Akshahuni? It's a battle formation, right, which consists of 21,870 chariots. In Sanskrit, we call Rath. 21,870 elephants, 65,000 horses, and this much is the infantry, 100K plus. So Bhagavad Gita was spoken as part of Mahabharata, and there is a parv called Bhishma Parv where this is spoken. So it's also a part of Mahabharata, and it is also known as Gita Upanishad. The meaning of Bhagavad Gita means the song of the Lord. So if you have seen the verses, it's spoken in a way where it sounds like a song, like you can sing practically like the verses. Like those who know the pronunciations, they can easily make out like it's all poetry kind of thing. So Pandavas were less in numbers, if you see 7, and Kauravas were 11. So they were more powerful, right? And this is total in Bhagavad Gita. There are 700 shlokas or verses. Out of those verses, 574 are spoken by Lord Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
The slide is not moving.
Not moving?
We are on the norms, right? I think I'm just saying, yeah, now we can see. Now we can see how many.
Let me just share again.
Yeah, we can see the slides, slokas.
Okay. So I was telling just this, I'm giving a glimpse of Bhagavad Gita. 574 verses are spoken by Lord Krishna himself, 84 by Arjun, 11 by Sanjay, and 1 verse is by Dhritarashtra. So these are the main characters you will see in Bhagavad Gita. Mostly it's a conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjun. And Sanjay was, you can say, the chariot rider of Dhritarashtra. Sanjay was also one of the fortunate ones who was able to hear that conversation, because just before the battlefield of Mahabharata, he got the divine eyes through Vyasadeva, and through that he can see everything which was happening there. And he was basically Dhritarashtra, because he was blind, he could not see. So Sanjay was telling him about whatever is happening on the battlefield. So as part of that, Sanjay also spoke up here this wonderful message of Bhagavad Gita at the same time when Arjun was hearing, right? So let's go to the main topic. Why Bhagavad Gita? So this is the perfect theistic science, because this is spoken by the most perfect person, Lord Krishna himself. And we'll discuss about Lord Krishna more when we come to that, like what is the position of Lord Krishna, who is he, and why he spoke this Bhagavad Gita. But just for our benefit, how to study Bhagavad Gita, if those who are studying, we should always study with the help of devotees of Krishna without any personally motivated interpretations. So we should not personally interpret anything, and we should discuss this or read this or study this in the line of disciplic succession, scrutinizingly, like going to each word and understanding what that word means, what is the context, how I can apply in this life, in my life. So this is the way how one can approach and study Bhagavad Gita. And I'll discuss more why we should study with the help of devotees with the devotional attitude. I'll discuss that in a minute. But this is what Prabhupada quotes based on the Gita Mahatmya, that one should, if one takes the approach of studying in this way, then definitely he will derive 100% benefit. Now, example of here in this.
So just a quick question. Can you elaborate on the last one in line of disciplinic succession? What do you mean by that?
Okay. So traditionally, this Vedic knowledge was coming in the line of disciplic succession, which means the guru or the spiritual master was teaching this knowledge to the disciples, and then those disciples used to and also to the kings, and then they will exactly transmit this knowledge to more of their disciples. For example, if you see, let me go back to the screen 1 second. I'll show you the disciplic succession in which this was spoken. So this is the Bhagavad Gita as it is, which we are referring. There is a Veda-based link also. If you go to vedabase.io en/library, you will see this. This is what is the Bhagavad Gita as it is. As it is means as it was spoken by Lord Krishna. So there is no personal interpretation or addition or subtraction. Okay. So let me go to disciplic succession. Yes. So as I was saying, disciplic succession means Guru Parampara system, where the knowledge is received through previous acharyas in a line of disciplic succession. So if you see the Bhagavad Gita, which we are reading, has been written by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who received this knowledge from his Guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, who received this knowledge in disciplic succession from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Like that, this is a disciplic succession, which is, if you trace this disciplic succession, it goes all the way to Krishna. Krishna first spoke this Bhagavad Gita through Brahma. Brahma is the first created being. Many of you know, right? Brahma, who has 4 heads, and he resides in the Brahmalok. And Brahma imparted this knowledge to Narad to Vyasa. Now, Vyasadeva was the one who was present in the battlefield of Mahabharata too, and he is considered as a literary incarnation of Krishna, and he compiled all the Vedic scriptures. He was the one who compiled this. But then this knowledge from Vyas came to Madhava, to Padmanabha, to Narhari. So this is called a disciplic succession, where the knowledge is received from the previous acharya or previous teacher, and the student of that knowledge transmits it to the next person, next, like that, next generation, like that. This is called disciplic succession. The benefit of this is that the knowledge which we are receiving is 100% authentic, and we can we know that there is no addition, dilution, or subtraction in the knowledge, because it is received in disciplic succession. So like this, there is this there are 4 sampradayas, or I would say which are originated which are, you can say, bona fide and mentioned in our Shastras. So the one which we are reading is coming from Brahma. So Brahma is the, you can say, the originator of this Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya. Like that, there is Rudra Sampradaya from Shiva, which originates from Shiva. There is Kumar Sampradaya, which originates from 4 Kumaras, and Lakshmi Sampradaya, which originates from Lakshmi Ji. So the knowledge received in any of these Sampradayas is bona fide, authentic, and that is what it means in the receiving in the disciplic succession.
Thank you.
Understood? Is that clear? Whoever asked that question, sorry, I didn't catch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was helpful. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So let's go. Example. So I was discussing about how to study. So this is one of the key things, because nobody can just whimsically come and comment on Bhagavad Gita and put his own views, because that's wrong. That's like a cheating, like you are putting your own views and distributing. So when Prabhupada wrote this commentary on Bhagavad Gita, that time there were more than 100 editions of Bhagavad Gita available in the market, right? Even today, there are many. But then are all of them explaining as it is what the message was? Maybe not, because we need to see if the ones who is writing that, has he received this message from his previous guru in disciplic succession? If not, then that may not be the right way of like the right message. And we'll see in chapter 4 also, Krishna talks about this disciplic succession to Arjuna. So what is the example of clear understanding of Bhagavad Gita? It is given in Gita itself. It's the way Bhagavad Gita was understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from Lord. Similarly, we should understand this message clearly, and why we'll discuss in a bit why Arjuna was chosen as the recipient of this Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna. Now, what are the benefits of such study? If one reads Bhagavad Gita, it surpasses all the studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. So as you know, there are so many scriptures in the Vedic scripture. There are 4 Vedas. Then there is histories, like there is Ramayana, Mahabharata. Then there is Upanishad, right? 108 Upanishads. And Gita is one of those Upanishads. It's also called Gita Upanishad. And then there is Puranas, 18 Puranas. Now, in our brief life of, let's say, 80, 100 years, we do not have time to go through all the Vedic scriptures, right? So what is the benefit of reading Bhagavad Gita? That it surpasses, it's, you can say, the essence of all the Vedic literature and all the scriptures of the world. So you do not need to go through each and every scripture. Just by understanding Bhagavad Gita, you get the gist of entire Vedic wisdom. So that is the, you can say, the significance of Bhagavad Gita. Specific standard, it contains all that is contained in all other scriptures. So it contains everything, but also that which is not to be found elsewhere. So there are certain things which are not there in Vedas, but you will see in the Bhagavad Gita. And another thing, why? Because this was spoken from the lotus mouth of Lord Krishna himself, right? So Krishna personally spoke these verses. So anything related to Krishna is absolute. There is no difference between Lord Krishna and his words. So that's another benefit or reason why we should learn and hear Bhagavad Gita. Now, here is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. So purpose of Bhagavad Gita actually is to deliver the mankind from the science of material existence. So you see, whenever, like, I'll give you an analogy to understand this point. When we buy any electronics items, right? You may have bought so many, like a mobile phone or a car or a television or anything. So you receive a manual along with that electronic item, how to operate that. Because if you do not operate as per the manual, then there is no, like, you cannot derive maximum benefit. For example, if you buy a mobile phone and instead of using it for, let's say, talking to someone, instead you use it as a medium of, let's say, reading. So you are not making full use of of its mobile phone, right? And it's not meant to read, like you have other means like books or laptops for reading. So the manual actually tells what is the use of that particular device. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is considered as a manual for mankind. All of us got this human form of life. So Bhagavad Gita tells what is the purpose of human life, why we got this human life, precious human life. So that purpose is explained in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna himself, right? So if one does not read Bhagavad Gita, that means he doesn't know what to do with this human form of life, because we know that we had only limited number of years where we are present. Like we are seeing all around us that whoever has taken birth, one day he has to go. So maximum he can, in this age, people can live or expect to live, let's say 100 years is the maximum, but we have seen practically 80, 90 or 70, this is the year. So how to make best use of whatever time we had in our hand. So that message is there in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, and if you see in this world, every man is in difficulty in so many ways. Everyone has challenges in life. Everyone is difficult situation. So as Arjun also was in a difficulty, he was not in a pleasant situation because he needs to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. And in the battle, he was supposed to kill his most dear and near and dear ones. Like he was very, very close to his grandfather, Bhishma Dev. Imagine if someone has to kill his own people or own relatives, how difficult it would be. So he was in that kind of difficulty. But after hearing this message of Bhagavad Gita, he overcome that difficulty and he understood what is my dharma, what is my goal, why I should fight. All that was cleared. And he surrendered to the teachings of Krishna, and consequently the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So Lord Krishna did not speak Bhagavad Gita, like even though he could at the onset, they were friends, like Lord Krishna and Arjun were friends. Only when that relationship changed from friendship to that of the Guru and Shishya, that's when Krishna started instructing about the message. So we'll see in chapter 2, once Arjun surrenders to Krishna and accepts him as his guru, that's when Krishna starts speaking, which gives us a message even in our life, like unless we have authority or unless someone asks for specific guidance or help, we should just not go and give advice anyone and everyone, because people may not take it in the right attitude, right? So Krishna also spoke this Bhagavad Gita when Arjun surrendered to him and accepted as his spiritual master. Then he started speaking. I see a raised hand from Kintuji. Yes, you have a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, I have a question. My question was, so like you mentioned that it's only when like Arjun surrendered to Lord Shri Krishna is like when he got the Bhagavad Gita. But on the other hand, we also see that like Sanjay, through the divine vision, he's able to also like listen to the Bhagavad Gita. But like, does that also mean that he had accepted the Lord as a spiritual master? That's why he was able to hear and nobody else on the battlefield was able to hear? Yes,
so Sanjay also was a devotee of Lord Krishna, and he got those divine eyes through the medium of Vyasadev. So yes, because he was a devotee, so he was also qualified or able to hear this message of Bhagavad Gita. Yes, he had a special mercy from Vyasadev. So who is Vyasadev? Vyasadev is as I mentioned, is a literary incarnation of Lord Krishna. So it's Lord Krishna himself in the form of Vyasadev. So he only bestowed his mercy on him. So he was also you can say the qualified to hear this message. And we'll see in a minute, like next slide is about this itself. Okay. So not only Arjun, but every one of us is full of anxieties, right? Because of this material existence. So we'll see in Bhagavad Gita that one of the characteristic of material existence is it's full of anxieties and it's full of miseries. And it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita that this world is dukhalyam and ashashvatam. What that means is a place of misery and it's temporary. So that's why we have a lot of anxieties, a lot of miseries, a lot of problems in this world. And then we have to know how to overcome those miseries. Is there any world where I can get rid of this misery? Why I have to suffer in this material world? Like, whole world has just come out of this big pandemic of COVID, right? Corona, I think more than 5 million people lost their lives. So why these calamities come? Why everyone here suffer? These are the fundamental questions which one should ask to himself, and those are being answers to those are given in Bhagavad Gita. What is the purpose of life? Who am I? All these questions are answered. So now I'll come to the question about this, that why Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjun, like why he was the chosen one. There are two qualifications which were there for Arjun. One, he was a devotee of the Lord, and he was a friend of Lord. So these were the two reasons which were mentioned in Bhagavad Gita why Lord Krishna spoke. What it means is we should always understand this Bhagavad Gita through the medium of devotee and with devotional attitude. Then only you will understand the message. If you try to superficially read, as many of you have said, like if you just read, you won't get anything out of it. So it's Bhagavad Gita also knows as an open secret. So it's available for everyone to read, but it's also a secret. It's the most confidential knowledge. So just by your own endeavor, without that devotional attitude, even though you may read, but you will not get the message. So that's why in the beginning I mentioned we should read with the help of devotees of Krishna, because that way we get the message, because there is a certain devotion which is expected to understand this message. Second criteria was to read this Bhagavad Gita with a friendly attitude, not with the envious attitude towards Krishna. The friendly, open attitude, open thing, right? Otherwise, again, like if we have envious attitude towards Krishna or devotees, then we will not get it. For example, there are so many people who like completely discard Lord Krishna. They just say like he was not he was just a simple personality, and they were like, particularly those who are coming in atheistic principles, they don't admit. So for them, this Bhagavad Gita is not meant for those kind of people. It's meant for particularly those who are friends of Krishna, favorable, and particularly devotees. So that was the reason why Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjun. He met both of these criteria. He was a devotee and also a close friend of Krishna. Okay, so now I will come to these questions which we will which would be addressing throughout the course, and so first key question: who am I? What is my real identity? This is the key question which every one of us should be having. Like, what I am supposed to do in this material world? Who am I, first of all? Then how the cycle of karma works. Why sometimes bad things happen to good people. We have often seen, like we have seen this person has done all good things in his life from the time we have seen, but still we see a lot of bad things happen. Like person has to go through, people have to go through chronic diseases, cancer, all those kind of problems. So why does that happen? And what I can do to end this suffering to myself and to others? So all this we'll discuss. Who is the supreme God? And then in Hinduism, there is always this question that is there a one God, or there are many gods? So why there is so much confusion? Then what is my relationship with the God, and why I have forgotten that relationship now? So first of all, we need to know what is that relationship, why I have forgotten, how to revive that relationship, what is the goal of life, is there reincarnation, is there life after that, what will happen to people after leaving their present bodies once they die, how to overcome anger, how to live a stress-free life and always be happy, how to overcome difficulties, and for those who are parents, then how to raise our children so that they become responsible, happy and successful persons when they grow up. This is another concern or which parents have, that how I can raise my children in a responsible way. Now, at this point, I would ask if anyone of you has any more questions which you have in your mind, then we can add this to this list, and then we'll address that throughout the course. Bhagavad Gita not just addresses these questions, but many more. So whatever question you may have, we can add this to this list. If you don't have now, but if you have later, then also we can have. So someone asked that how I can become a better person every day, right? I think, and any other question which you may think which you should address?
I think Prabhu, there are very similar questions to like how to overcome anger. There are very similar aspects like how to basically tackle the different behaviors of mind, like jealousy or hatred, or sometimes this competition, right? Because everybody is competing.
Yeah. How to handle, I would say, jealousy, hatred, and different. I would all call this as unwanted things present in our heart, right? How to basically handle these unwanted things which are bothering us, right?
Yeah.
So Bhagavad Gita talks about 5 unwanted things which are gateway to hell also. Kam, Krodh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya, like lust, anger, greed, false pride, and false ego. All these things, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
How to overcome anger, greed, false ego. Okay. So yeah, we'll discuss this, and this will basically when we discuss the main concepts and answer these questions, and then understand how we can apply in our life, that gives us the true meaning of how about Bhagavad Gita and how it can help us. Okay. So yeah, if you have any more questions, even later, just let me know. We'll add to the list, and also we'll if you have during the class, then you can always ask. Okay. Okay. So now I'll just start. Now it's starting the Bhagavad Gita. Like, what does Bhagavad Gita talks about? So it talks about 5 basic truths. Okay. It talks about jivas, who are the living entities. Living entities basically is us. Not just us, but all the living entities. Like it's mentioned that there are 8.4 million species of life. You can consider, many of you who know Hindi, 84 lakh yoniya, 8.4 millions of life, and all of those 8.4 million species falls under this category called jivas, or living entities. So this is one of the subjects of Bhagavad Gita. Why different people have different bodies? Like, what is the criteria, right? And what is actually the living entity? What is jiva? Then Ishwar, Ishwar literal meaning is controller. Ishwar, we have heard this word, Ishwar, Parameshwar, Bhagwan. What is the meaning? Like Ishwar, Parameshwar, Bhagwan, who are these? So this is all discussed. Prakriti, nature. So we all know about the nature, right? But what it is, under whose direction it works, what is this role? Then the Kal means time. Time, we all know, like time. So how does Kal or time affects us? And then finally, the karma is the activities. So it also talks about karma, activities. Like there are different kinds of karmas. So what are all those? Which one are we supposed to do? So these are the 5 basic truths which are explained in Bhagavad Gita. And it's mentioned that one who knows this is actually knowledge. Otherwise, the one who don't know the intricacies of this is considered to be ignorant. The one who knows the intricacies of this is said to be intelligent and knowing about. That's what actual knowledge is. So from Bhagavad Gita, we must learn what God is, what the living entities are, what Prakriti is, what the cosmic manifestation is, and how it is controlled by time, and what are the activities of living entities. Okay, as I was saying, Bhagavad Gita is a manual, right? It is a manual for human life. So we should know what is meant, how I should lead my human life, what is the goal of my life as per Bhagavad Gita, because this human form of life is given to us by nature, by Prakriti, right? Under certain criteria. That's why humans are considered the most intelligent and the topmost species, right? Because we can see that there are so many animals, so many plants, so many insects, but they don't have that intelligence which humans have to understand this message of Bhagavad Gita. So that means humans also have more responsibility than all other species, right? So all that we will discuss, but just to give you introduction, this is the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, that it talks about all these 5 basic truths and the intricacies, how these truths are interrelated to each other. Any questions here on any of this? If it is not clear, please let me know. Like we'll discuss each of them in more detail, like Jiva, Ishwar, Prakriti, but just you can say the translation, I hope it's clear, because these are all Sanskrit words, and on the right are the English meaning of those words. Any questions? No? Okay. Wonderful. So we have 5 more minutes. So we are at that junction where if I start, we don't have enough time to finish between this, but let me just go through the first one. So just the starting of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita starts with a question about Dhritarashtra. So as you know, Dhritarashtra was sitting with Sanjay in his palace, and the battle was about to start, right? So, and in the battle, Dhritarashtra asked this question to Sanjay, which is the first verse, very first verse in Bhagavad Gita. I'll just show that verse. So first chapter is about the observing the armies on the battlefield. So Dhritarashtra asked this question to Sanjay, that, "O Sanjay, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?" So he asked this question because he was very anxious, because he knew that his sons are against dharma. They are doing which is not right. He knew that. It's not that he was that blind that he doesn't know what is wrong, what is right. But in spite of knowing that, he was handicapped because he was too much attached to his son, and he desperately wanted his son to be the next king. And he knew that because his sons are on the other side of the dharma, so he was anxious whether his sons will win this battle or not. So he asked this question, that what are my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in this place of pilgrimage doing? What did they do? So this is when the Bhagavad Gita started, and then Sanjay starts answering, and he starts telling about the scene. So he explained that there is a different formation of military formations of Pandu, and he describes how the Pandavas are there, like how their army is there. And then he indirectly give this message that because your sons are on the other side, and because Lord Krishna is on the side of Pandavas, then it's very difficult for your sons, which is Kauravas, to win. So the first thing was the verses from 112 to 120 talks about the signs of victory of Pandavas. Like why in the beginning itself, Sanjay tactfully informed Dhritarashtra about his hopeless plans to win, because Dhritarashtra was thinking that the Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, who are the great warriors of their time, like no one could defeat them. They were fighting just out of compulsion on the side of Kauravas. So he was hoping against hope that his sons will win and defeat the Pandavas. But then Sanjay tactfully informed Dhritarashtra about his hopeless plans, and he indirectly gave the signs of victory of Pandavas, why the Pandavas would be victorious even before the battle began. So he gave 9 points. He says Krishna's personal presence confirms victory. So wherever there is Krishna, victory is guaranteed. Supreme Personality of Godhead agreed to be the charioteer of Arjun. So, and Krishna as a Hrishikesha, he directly controls the senses of devotee. So you see here the position of Krishna, even though he is the Supreme Lord, he agreed to become the charioteer of Arjun. And the last verse of Bhagavad Gita says, I'll just show you the last verse also. Sometimes it's better, it's good to know like last. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjun, the supreme archer, there will certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. So Sanjay was asking, at the end, he spoke this last verse. So that means wherever there is Krishna, and Krishna does not take, like, for Krishna, everyone is equal. So Krishna is always on the side of dharma or the truth. And because Pandavas were righteous, Krishna was on their side. So wherever there is Krishna, the victory is guaranteed. And wherever Krishna is, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, is automatically there. So whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there. She never lives without her husband. Therefore, all fortune was guaranteed. So this was another sign that why Pandavas would be victorious, because Krishna was on their side, and goddess of fortune Lakshmi will also be on their side. Then the venue of the battle was Kurukshetra, and as we know, Kurukshetra is a holy place, and because it's a holy place, it will definitely favor those who are on the righteous side, like on the side of dharma. Then Hanumanji also helped Lord Ram in gaining the victory in Ramayana. We see in the different yuga, Treta Yuga. So Hanumanji was present on Arjuna's flag. That was another indication that this is a sign of victory for Pandavas. Conch shell is a symbol of Vishnu. This is indirectly indicated by Bhishma and Pandavas' conch shell. So when they blew their conch shell, it created a thundering noise, sound, and it shattered the hearts of the other opposite party when Pandavas blew their conch shell. And Krishna's and Arjuna's conch shell were mentioned as Divya, transcendental. They were transcendental conch shell, meaning that they were not from this material world. They were from spiritual world. They are transcendental. Agni Dev gave his chariot to Arjun, which was capable of conquering all the directions. So Arjun was, as we know, the one very powerful warrior, and Agni Dev, the Lord, the god of fire, gave his personal chariot to him for this battle, which was capable of conquering all directions. And when Pandavas blew the conch shell, it shattered the hearts of Kauravas because they just lost the confidence immediately when they hear the conch shell of Pandavas. Pandavas' hearts were not shattered, even though Pandavas were less in number, their army was weak, but they have one thing on their side. They had Lord Krishna on their side, and because of them having the confidence in Krishna, they knew that they would be victorious. Victory was smiling on their side even before battle was begun. So these are some of the reasons or signs of victory which are mentioned in from verses 112 to 120 in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so basically Sanjay told Dhritarashtra in the beginning itself that you are kind of, your sons would be on the losing end, and because they are against the dharma. So what is there for us to know from this? That Lord's protection. Those who surrender to the Lord's protection are assured victory, regardless of material odds. So sometimes we see that sometimes material odds are against us, right? Materially doesn't make sense. But those who are surrendered to Lord's protection, those who follow his instruction, or those who are on the side of dharma, on the righteous side, maybe they face some difficulties in the beginning, as Pandavas faced. They went through a lot of difficulties, right? But victory is assured for them because they were always on the dharma side. Like there is no power in the whole universe which can defeat someone who is on the righteous side. So sometimes for us, there are certain situations where we have to take decisions. So we should always introspect and see what is right, and always be on the right side, because then our victory is guaranteed. And if we are surrendered to the Lord's instruction, then definitely nobody can defeat that personality. The Lord as an intimate servant. So Bhagavad Gita introduces Lord Krishna, who is supreme personality of Godhead, as the intimate servant of his devotee, right?
I think you moved. We are seeing the same the same slide with 5 points.
Oh, it's not moving.
Now it is. I can see the now.
I think maybe in full screen it's not moving. Okay. So I was telling about the first point about the Lord's protection. So those who are under the direct.
Sorry, just a quick comment. We're at 12:20. So are we continuing through the slide for another 10 minutes or so? Because we're at 12:20.
What's the comment?
So we're at the time is 12:20 now. So I was wondering if we are covering this slide and we're going over.
No, we are just finishing at this. Yeah, we are 12:20. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. So we are finishing with this last slide for today, and then we'll resume from the next session. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. So I was saying, like, what are the key takeaways or practical application about what we can get from seeing the conduct of Pandavas, like, because they were completely under the protection of Lord. That's why their victory was guaranteed. So same is the situation. The devotees who surrender to the Lord's protection or to the teachings of Lord are assured victory in their life, regardless of any material odds. Even though the material odds are against them, but they will be victorious because they are directly under the Lord's protection. And Bhagavad Gita also introduces Lord Krishna as an intimate servant of his devotee. This is a unique position of Krishna, where those who surrender to him, he himself becomes a servant of those devotees. So he took very humble position of taking the role of a charioteer of Arjuna, even though he is the Supreme Lord, but he agreed to become a charioteer of Arjuna. Why? Because Arjun was his intimate devotee. So he became a servant of Arjun in turn, agreed to become the servant of Arjun, right? And then there was no heartbreaking on the side of Pandavas, because Pandavas were, they have full confidence in Krishna, even though they were less in numbers, but because they had full confidence, then they were like always confident of the victory. So this shows that one who takes shelter of Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of greatest calamity. So sometimes we face so many calamities in our life, but if we just take shelter of the Lord and give all our problems to the Lord, then everything is taken care. So this is the message. So we'll end our session here, and we'll resume the next session from next class next Sunday, same time. And what you can do in the week is just go through these translations, just the translations of chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. And if you find encouraging, then you can read the purport, but at least you can just go through the translations, text 1 to text number 46. It should not take more than 20 minutes to just read the translations. So this more or less we covered chapter 1 today. Just the last part is pending, which we'll cover next. But you can go through the translation of Bhagavad Gita. And once you finish, if you are able to finish, then you can also read the introductory part, introduction. Introduction is a little bigger, but you can just start reading and understand, because this also gives the gist of Bhagavad Gita. Okay,
Sorry,
so-
just a quick question.
Yes.
For the content, for the translations, is there a source? Is there a link that you can share with us where we can go
Yes.
to review?
Yes. So let me share. I will send on email, and one thing which I will do is, because all of you gave your mobiles, I'll add you to the WhatsApp group and share the link there. But let me share here also in the comments.
Thank you.
If you have a hard copy of Bhagavad Gita, then you can read from there. Otherwise, you can take online one also. So I shared the link in the chat. Just copy and yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we'll meet again next Sunday at 11 o'clock and continue.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.